Mhm.
Okay. Where we last left off, the party had just finished fighting for their lives, primarily, uh, against the actually a rather large scale battle against some defected druids who had entered and I guess not entered, had betrayed Chief Taruk and the druid encampment in favor of helping Hedrun the Frost Witch. Um, the party had engaged in combat with Hedrun, initially starting with Big Toon and Sienna having to survive a few rounds while the party gained their ground. Um, and then once the party arrived, full scale combat ensued with various parties getting involved alongside the Frost Serpent or Ice Serpent, depending on who you talk to. A the Harry D&D equivalent of a Horcrux, a item that is essentially tying her to this plane, preventing her from truly being able to die. Uh, the party, after a long battle that ended with a lot of people temporarily petrified, uh, slayed the serpent, and currently is now kind of picking up the pieces of this combat as Atina Hedrun, or I guess just Hedrun now because her form was returned to normal. Um, Hedrun had, through some form of enticement, magical in nature, had gotten grasps on Sienna, and with a gaseous form, taken her and disappeared off, heading north out of the druid encampment, a cackling voice emanating out from the back of your minds as she did so. Athros kind of trying to stop her last second and failing as she was a bit too far out of the way. As the party slayed the serpent, and it kind of formed into these large pillars of ice on the ground, and also underneath the pond that you all had been fighting over the top of. Athros kind of fell down to the ground from his flight-like state and began healing Spit, who had dropped to no health and was temporarily bleeding out after the petrification. You would see Chief Taruk is lying on the ground, also in a worse for wear shape, currently kind of fighting for his life up on the north end of the battlefield. I believe Irini was fine. Oh no, I think. I have to look for the battle map once because I removed it from my quick reference.
Irene and Matra were uh, frozen and currently defrosted.
Right, and Irini. Oops, so sorry. I believe Irini had like 1 health. No, she had more than that. She recovered a lot of health. Let me take a look once. Just so I get my shit. There's my health. She would be so Irini, upon being thawed, would be currently rolling death saves. Matra would also be currently rolling death saves. As like the ice kind of thaws and returns them to their physical form. You would see that like they immediately drop to the ground, breathing really heavy, as they like are beginning to slip in and out of consciousness. How many spells does Athros have? I don't think he has that many left. He used his healing hands to bring Spit back to equal to your level. So he brought him back to, I believe, 6 health. And then, so Spit's up currently. Spell slots. The boy has 1 spell slot remaining at first level. He would see. Sorry, Big Toon I know is still up. Yeah, Big Toon. Big Toon's fine. Big Toon had like 17 health left. Okay. I guess the two of you are fine, I believe. Yeah, freaking Mirrors, you had like 20 some health left. And then. Oh no. Oh no was also petrified, wasn't he?
Yeah, Ono, Matra, and Big Tune that I remember.
Yeah, Big Tomb was fine. Mirrors was fine. Oh no. Oh no, I think I took his damage off him. So he would come back and he would be conscious and like standing in place, like looking around like, what? Is it dead? As Irini and Matra are like, if they like have fallen to the ground, he would like see, I think he would see Irini because he's on that side of the wall, which is now also melting, and he would go and perform a medicine check. He would look to, it'd probably be Miras who's nearby. Miras, can you lend me a hand?
Yeah. Let me go over to you right now.
As the two of you kind of begin patching up between wounds and like trying to stabilize Irini. Miras, I want you to make a medicine check with advantage.
Okay.
Ibrin, you would see as you are off the top of the wall, Matra laying on the ground, breathing super heavy, fading in and out of consciousness.
I would walk over and offer her a hand up and be like, "No, you're probably not the face you want to see after you get defrosted, but good job, kid. We're proud of you."
She is currently technically unresponsive. If you want to help her, you'll have to make a medicine check also.
Yeah, that makes a different story. Hey, you're not responding. Okay. Get down on my knees.
2 20s, good job. As the two of you, Mira is working with Ono to like help patch some of Irini's wounds and like help her kind of come to stable breathing again. Ibrin being able to, between seeing other battle and like also having to do this a couple other times with other people, you kind of help stabilize Matra. The two of them, Irini and Matra, are currently stable at 0 health. So they are currently like unconscious, but you see their breathing stabilize, so you know they're not at risk of death right now. Just for the sake of he's not here right now, I'm just gonna make him do it anyway. Big T would probably go and try to find the chief, knowing that the chief was pretty beat up when he was trying to fight Hedrun, and see if he can stabilize the chief.
Does Matra have a healing potion on her I can give to her?
Make an investigation check for me.
I'm gonna bolster that.
Okay. Absolutely. This is perfect time to use your side bolstered neck.
Is that a D6 or 8?
I think it's a D8 for you now, because it was a D6, and you're level 5 now, or level 6 now, so it should be, I think, a D8.
Side bolster.
He's rolled.
Trying to read it. Yeah, 1d8. Gosh, R1D. Okay, so 15 for investigation.
Oh, lordy. Hold on. Come on, Big Tune. Succeed on your medicine check. Oh, God. Okay. The chief ended up stabilizing himself. Big Tune rolled, he rolled 2 4s and two 4s and an 8 on his medicine checks, and the chief rolled 3 successes on death saves. So Chief stabilized, but not because of Big Tune. Big Tune did not help. in this situation. I'm sorry, Big Two. As you look through. What did you say you got for your final total?
15.
Oh, perfect. As you look through Matra's belongings that she has, you would find a singular, just standard size healing potion in her inventory. You only find the one, but she does seem to have one currently available.
All right, now what did we rule on me administering it?
If you administer it to
It's two.
if you force feed it to a person,
Slash R, was it 2d4 plus 2?
yes, it would be it's a standard action to force feed it to another individual, and you have to roll. If someone drinks it themselves and they use an action, it's full healing. If they use a bonus action for like a quickened heal, they have to roll for it. So it'd be R/2d4 plus 2.
Alright, well, as respectively as possible, I would peruse through and find it and kind of prop her up and hold her head up and be like, alright, kid, well, here we go.
As you pour it into her mouth, and you look as some of the wounds that she had gotten from various attacks, the splintering shards and all that of ice that she had begun bleeding from, begin to patch with almost like a radiant glow. As she opens her eyes and she sees you with like an empty vial now in her hand, she kind of like rises up to a sitting position rather quickly and looks around.
Whoa, take it easy. Everyone's fine.
She's not here. Is she?
Yeah. Hedrun took your sister.
There's a long pause as like the wind begins to kind of pick up as the storm that has been slowly growing over time continues to grow. She looks around and like she sees you like there. It's like she sees like the vial that you kind of had, a little bit of red liquid dripping from the side. Thank you, Ibram, for bringing me back to consciousness. I guess. I don't really remember falling. I just remember the serpent charging its, well, that thing it did. And she like looks and she sees like the pillar where like the serpent was of like the ice. I'm gonna take this as a we kinda won, but not really kind of moment.
Yeah, he launched his breath attack and froze you and a few other people, and fortunately enough, we did enough damage over time that I got one good attack on him and killed him, and once he died, you guys started to kind of come back to life a little bit, per se. But yeah, battle's not over yet. We have to stabilize a few people and figure out what's next and where possibly your sister was taken to.
Let's see if Ono has a healing potion. He does have a healing potion in his inventory yet. He would pour it in Irini's mouth and give her healing as well. Okay, total of 5. Enough to bring her back. That's what counts. As Miris, you stabilize Irini, and then he kind of pulls out this healing potion and pours it in her mouth. You see, like, she also, in a very similar fashion to Atina, like, gasps forward and then, like, rises up rather quickly, and then, like, leans up against the melting ice for a second, and then looks at the two of you. If I'm here, I take it that means the serpent's dead. Thank you both. I wouldn't be here without you.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Yeah, that was a really tough battle. I'm really glad that you're alive and everything. Thought you weren't going to make it for a second.
I mean, there was a hot second there. I didn't think I was going to either. Gives me inspiration for a song, though. Maybe a Song of Ice and Fire. She like begins like mumbling some form of lyric to herself. You see like Oh No kind of humming along to a little tune, doing a little ditty, and then he looks over to the rest of the party. He would see like Big Tune bringing the like with the chief kind of over one arm, although a massive dude like Big Tune's putting a lot of the work into bringing this guy over to the rest of the party. You would see he's really banged up. Again, still missing an arm, but it seems that the wound itself is kind of closed off. Not so much like what's the word I'm looking for? It's not a perfect heal. It's not cauterized or anything like that, but it seems to have not been bleeding ever since he came back from being petrified in the ice. All of you, thank you for what you did here today. I don't think a lot of us at the Grove would have survived long enough to tell this story another day had you not been here. You have my sincerest thanks.
Yeah, and I mean, no problem. It just sucks it happened, and I think you made a bigger sacrifice than any of us. Kind of missing an arm there, bud.
It was either that or, well, let it keep growing across my body. I'm not someone who would like to be an ice sculpture longer than I have to. But, you all look very worse for wear. The offer that I presented you earlier, when you first arrived, still stands, of course. I know time for all of you is of the essence, but none of you are in, well, the real shape to be moving long distances in your current condition. I know the longer you wait, the farther she leaves, it looks like, but I do ask that you rest with us throughout this storm here. It's not going to do anybody any good trying to leave. It's only going to get worse from here.
Well, I mean, Major, your sister's gone. What do you want to do?
I mean, I don't really want to stay longer than I have to, but also, I could use a good evening's rest, I suppose, or whatever time of day it is, just to recover my strength. I feel if we tried to pursue her at this point, we'd only be, well, digging ourselves a snowy grave. It might be good to rest. I'm sure there's things we could discuss in the meantime, like, well, where exactly we need to go, especially since she has all the pieces now.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think we all could use a nice long rest. Chief, what do you want to do about, everything else laying around here? And I would kind of gesture towards the dead bodies.
Leave them. It's part of the natural balance for other creatures to eat that which has fallen. I suspect within the next day or two. Well, maybe not leave them, since we are kind of in the edge of camp. Well, I'll have people take the corpses to the edge of camp, farther away from our tribe, and leave them to natural devices to eliminate. The natural order of things will carry its course accordingly.
Fair enough.
It does not mean
Yeah.
that it's a easy decision, but if they've defected to join Hedrun in any way, well, they would have been exiled from the encampment as it is. It hurts, but it's an understandable situation, I suppose, that we would be in this position.
Now here's a question. Do you think as we head back to your camp, there's any more defectors waiting for us there?
I suppose we do run that risk, but at the same time, if there are defectors now, I have a feeling there's more of us than there would be of them. And with Hedrun leaving, well, it increases the chances that they might have fled themselves, especially once the serpent fell to your hands, broken.
All right. Well, let's head back and take a nice long deserved rest.
As the party makes their way from the edge of camp where the chief's tent kind of was to towards the center of camp where there were tents and structures kind of a bit more common than where you were now. You'd see that from the serpent being destroyed, that the mist that had filled the edges of the camp has dissipated, instead being replaced by this natural heavy snowfall. A blustering wind blows through, picking up rather intensely. You can hear over the tops of the trees that you're kind of nestled underneath. They're blowing quite a bit, but in the area that you all are in this ground level of this encampment, it's nothing more than a light breeze, as it's thick enough that it kind of blocks out most of it, trees being a fantastic natural wind block. As you see, getting a little bit closer to the center of the encampment, a large fire and a couple of people doing some form of ceremonial dance around it. You would see a figure that really didn't present themselves earlier, possibly being preoccupied or doing something else. A older woman, maybe humanoid in nature, maybe probably pushing between 70 and 80 years old. She is dressed in these makeshift kind of fur garbs, carrying a large stick with a green gemstone of some sort, not an emerald, nothing of real value, but a gemstone of sorts at the top. You would see that there's almost like a dream catcher kind of hanging down from the top of that as well. Moving rather slowly through the center of the camp, talking to a couple of the other people. As you reach this fire, Chief Taruk would kneel down to see her. Her being, given that he's probably pushing 8 feet tall, he would have to kneel down to still be taller than her, as she's hunched over and very short. He looks to the rest of you, looks down to her. Priestess Gresh, might I bother you for a simple question? And she looks at all of you, her sunken, aged, and wrinkled, her sunken eyes, very little life almost coming from within them. You see tons of wrinkles and skin kind of sagging in certain places, on her arms and coming down her face. Yes, Taruk, Chief Taruk, what question do you ponder today? I was wondering, is it possible for my arm to be regrown? There's a moment of pause, as several of the other people who were kind of dancing around the fire, a celebration possibly of success or life or something you're maybe not quite sure of right this second. They kind of stop what they're doing and look, and they see that he only has his left arm right now, the other one being just a nub coming down off of the shoulder blade. I'm not sure right now, Chief, but I suppose it is possible with the right materials and the right amount of magic. maybe in the future it could be, though I wouldn't suspect sometime soon. You are gonna be, well, you're going to have to get very good at using your left arm. If you wish to fight more than what you have been. She, kind of like takes her like really small and like frail hand and runs it over this like now closed nub and lets out a sigh. It's a shame, really. And he like nods in like, you know, acknowledgement of what she said. Looks to the rest of you and kind of stands back up. Broken. This is Priestess Grish. She is the healer of our encampment, and she has been with, well, all of us here longer than many of us have known life, myself included. She's one of the few people that have been here since the migration. I do strongly suggest that at some point in your time with our encampment, whether you need her services or not, merely show her just a sign of respect over her time. She is very wise, knowledgeable, and a trusted advisor to myself. And he would take a few steps back, and she would like look at all of you up and down, being at about the same eye level as Ono. She would like kind of like look at like what he's wearing, and then let out a small sigh as she like slowly like pitter patters her way to each of you. For lack of better words, you all kind of look like shit. No offense intended. Merely just you look like you could use a warm meal.
I mean, I'd be down with that.
Yeah, a warm meal sounds really nice about now, along with a really nice bed.
I don't know if I think Nick said his signal is still spotty, so I'm going to assume he would ask the question as Big Toon, do you have any milk? And
you already know me.
I got you. As the question's asked, she would let out a small chuckle. We have various supplies, to which anybody is welcome within the encampment. And she would like take you by your rather large and furry paws, and very slowly, walking stick in hand, guide you to one of the tents that is set up within the center here that contains several different small, like maybe a foot tall by like about 8 or 9 inch diameter at most, small barrels, and then laying next to them are buckets that seem to be used for gathering the actual material. But you could smell a familiar yet maybe slightly new, the scent of some form of white milk substance. I figured that was coming.
I don't even worry about the buckets. I just take the barrel.
You just like with your your claw hand, you kind of rip open the top of the barrel and kind of just like set it. You're gonna like initially like just like throw it off to the side, but you see the priestess right there. You kind of just like nicely set it down as you just take both hands on each one hand on each side, and you just like down the full little barrel of milk. Make a because of I'm assuming are you chugging this like fast, or are you just like I'm going to drink until it's gone without stopping, but like pacing yourself?
I am. Well, I mean, yeah, I'm still not feeling good, so yeah, no, I want as much as I can, as fast as I can.
I want you to make a Constitution check for me.
Okay.
As you chug this milk down, there's a moment where you have like you feel almost like a snot bubble kind of forming out of your nose, and you just like sniffle it back in. It causes you to like send some of it down the wrong pipe, but it doesn't phase you, as you just like for a brief moment you pause and just let out a singular cough. Some spittle kind of launching off to the side. You go back and finish the milk in a absurdly quick time, as you leave nothing left inside that barrel, and it is a very satisfying, slightly warm, probably very fresh milk from whatever source they had acquired it from, but it hits the spot quite nicely.
Do I get any health back for that?
You know what? You gain from that milk in general. You gain 6 health back. Feels you. While it doesn't like what you would see from a healing potion, like restore your wounds or anything like that. Like your wounds themselves, whatever you had, like you can see like the redness of like anything you had open is still very bright. But you do feel more like revitalized than what you thought you would. As the you would the party, as you're gathered in the center here, or following Big Tune to the shed, or not shed, the tent that has some of these supplies, you would smell a some form of roasting meat coming from not the central fire that people were dancing around, but another one off to the side, as there is a couple of other individuals who are cooking what smells like some form of beef, or at least beef-related animal. And the scent itself is quite intoxicating, as they have like a whole rack of the meat itself, like just slowly rotating over a fire on a rotisserie of sorts. That they have like one of the kids in the camp kind of rotating for the time being. You would see that there's a couple other people that are preparing some form of like plants to kind of complement this source, and or providing an alternative option for those who don't want to eat any of the meat itself. And then there's also nearby that there's also a cauldron that is preparing some form of broth, and kind of like, like the individuals themselves. It follows a lot of like what our real world Native Americans would do, where you use every bit of the animal. They seem to be doing that a lot here too. So there's like a beef bone broth that they have kind of brewing. And the overall smell in the center of this camp is a lot nicer than what it was when you guys first arrived. It appears to be like you're walking in here and near the beginning of everybody getting down or sitting down and preparing for a meal. So it was very good timing when you arrived. So. As Chief Taruk will, with his one hand that he has, he'll have somebody else kind of prepare a plate for him, and he sits on this, the area that you're in right now. There's a bit of a clearing, like some of the snow has been like either brushed away, or like someone has removed a lot of the snow here to provide like a padded grassy surface. The grass being very cold nonetheless. But they're able to lay down like leathers and just items that kind of provide a comfortable surface for everyone to sit around. The druid encampment being, after the defectors have gone, maybe like a total of 50 or so people left. So just under half of the encampment is either gone, fled, or dead. I mean, any mix of the three. As Chief Taruk kind of sits down or kneels down on one of these furs that have been kind of placed around the central fire here. You would see a lot of the other people gather as you kind of prepare plates however you would like to, gathering beverages as well. The beverages themselves being less targeted towards things like pleasure, like alcohol, and more towards utility, like milk. There are some fruit juices that are available too, which is surprising given the coldness of the north here. it's surprising to see that there are fruit that can grow in these temperatures. And then there's just, your standard, like, water-based refreshments. As you grab whatever your character desires, Chief Daruk looks around to all of you who are gathered around this fire area, provided, of course, you're staying here and not, hold on. There's a term I'm looking for. Brooding in a corner somewhere. You would hear him say, "My friends, today we had a moment of great loss. We felt the true family that we have here shift. Hedrun the Frost Witch is beginning her return. Hedrun has stolen many of our families away from us. Hedrun has escaped our clutches, but not without us trying. And what's more, Hedrun has stolen one of our own." And like he looks down to Maitra, who's like sitting somewhat nearby him per his own request, which is like weird. And she's like very like red in the face, like she does not want to be where she is, but she doesn't want to tell him that she doesn't want to be there. So she's just like uncomfortably sitting there, like holding a plate of like food, maybe shaking a little bit. "Hedrun has stolen someone valuable to this fine girl here," and you just like hear her under her breath, just like "Hi," as he like looks down at her, not having a hand to like usher at her right now. "Maitra here is the youngest of 3 sisters. Hedrun has taken the oldest sister's body and has stolen the middle sister to claim her body for her own as part of a nefarious ritual somewhere here in the north. We know not where they will be. We know not what will happen next. But as I look to my new friends, our new comrades, here in the encampment here, the broken," and he like also uses his left hand, the one that's free, to like look at those of you who are visibly present in the center camp. "I feel confident that our allies here will be able to stop her. I feel confident Ziena could one day return to us. And I feel confident that young Maitra here will have her wishes granted, and her sisters once again in her presence. Tonight, while we cannot say truly that we have won, let it be a night of remembrance, a celebration of life, and a reminder that we are all here today. We are all alive today. Enjoy tonight, and make our friends welcome. Without them, most of us would not be here right now. They are our family as much as any other. Enjoy your meals." And you would hear like the druids of all sorts, like letting out like hoots and hollers, and some of them would have a natural form of applause. Others would kind of like use some form of like really elementary magic, like prestidigitation and stuff like that, make it feel like a really celebratory moment underneath all of these rather thick evergreen trees, as the party is, for the moment, left to their own devices to enjoy their meal. I assume you all stayed together, given your conditions, but if you decided to branch off, that is entirely within your control.
Yeah.
I'm just
I was
eating.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd be eating and then getting
I'm just shoveling. So like it's
into
impressive.
Just sheer quantity. Just
Yeah.
you're like
Mhm.
Kirby of the Leonin.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, or like SpongeBob eating a plate of cookies.
As the party just continues to eat their food and enjoy this. I guess while solemn in many ways, this moment of like to catch your breath that you haven't really had for truly like a genuine nice moment like this, probably in at least a day or two, given that you were traveling with the lightning tank up to now, and fighting for your life. I would say at this point, given the preparation of meals, it'd probably be like an hour and a half ago. As the meal here, like the druids will carry on this meal, like people will come and go over the course of probably the next hour or so. You would have various individuals from the camp come up and like share their express their thanks for like saving members of their family. Like, oh, if it wasn't for you, like I would have lost Tasha back there, and I can't afford that. So you have my thanks. You would see some of them would give you, they would like place maybe something important to them like in front of your group, like some form of like thank you offering type thing. Nothing of like genuine gold value, primarily things that are either like carved out of wood or like maybe like jewelry that they had made that has like animal teeth or something along those lines. There is a not a circlet, but there's like a almost like a helm with like two like small deer antlers that are kind of coming off of it that someone would take off, being made of like a leathery material, with the bones kind of protruding off the top. Looks rather cool, but rather impractical in battle. And then during this time period too, you would see Priestess Gresh comes up to all of you, and as a group, she'll like kneel down and like use her stick to like stabilize herself as she goes down, and kneels before all of you and just like looks each of you a little bit in the eyes. Doesn't really say anything at first, and then as she sees like Matra would come over after finishing her meal, seeing Irini and Ono and like all of you gathered together, a small smile would come over her face, and she holds out in front of each of you, or I guess just in front of all of you as a group. You would see her hold out two what looks to be bone dice, and she extends them outward without really saying anything to whoever the nearest person would be, whoever you want to designate.
I would say that's a big tune thing right there.
I'm sorry, what was happening? I was paying attention to something else.
No, it's
You're
okay.
getting bone dice.
Oh, I'll roll. I don't care.
As she extends out her hands to you, Big Tune, with these two dice, that like they look like they're carved out of some form of animal bone. You see that there's runic symbols that are embedded on each side, each of them being like a standard 6-sided die, but with different runic symbols on it. She places them in your rather large furry paws. I want you to make an Arcana check for me, and I will say with Ono being next to you, he will give you guidance.
Okay.
As Ono is also scarfing down some food, which is kind of rare for him, but he's been through quite a bit. Okay. Big Tune, while the runes that are written on these dice are different than what you've seen before, you do recognize the purpose of bone dice. These are they're a set of, essentially, you once per day can ponder yourself a question. Generally speaking, it should be something that happens within the next hour. So like if you're looking for help finding which direction to travel, or you're trying to find like a solution to a problem and you're not sure what solution it might be, these dice can give you, by rolling them on a surface, they will give you insight as to what the answer to your question should be. It might not give you the exact answer, but it'll give you just some guidance on what to kind of maybe expect. Also known as, once per day, for free, using these dice, you can cast the level 2 augury spell.
Intense. And like I said, he really likes.
So once per day, like resetting on a long rest, or
Correct. Yes, on a long rest.
and we still have not rested yet, right?
Nope.
You have not yet. You are enjoying a good meal.
Okay, so how should I go about using these? Is there an item? Is there a D for it?
I did not put it together quite yet, but what you can do is, what I'll do here, I'm gonna pull up your character sheet. I'm gonna add, as long as you have the spell, not have the dice
The
on
ball.
you, you'll be able to
Mhm.
cast once per day the augury spell. So I'll add that to your sheet quick.
Okay, yeah, I mean that makes sense. I mean, like, what do you want? Like, I mean, it's a long rest anyway, so it'd be perfect for now at least. Because I'm gonna use it since
Yeah,
I know we're gonna rest. Since I know we're gonna rest soon.
Yeah, that figures.
Are we gonna rest soon? Rolls. Yes.
not
Sweet.
not quite, but you're not too far away. I'm going to ask. Well, so it's not like a yes no, right? Like like it's more than that, right? Like I could.
So the way augury generally works, so if you look I added it to your spell sheet, so if you look at augury, it gives you a description of the spell. Your duration isn't 30 minutes, it's 1 hour.
Okay.
So it gives you you ask a question and it gives you, like, generally speaking, whether or not it's going to be a good thing, a bad thing, or if the divine or the natural isn't sure of what your thing's going to be, like that determines kind of like what the symbols are that roll on the top of the dice, so to say. However, sometimes if it can't give you a direct answer like that, it might give you like a vision or like some form of connection with something that will guide you in the right direction.
Victon just wants to know, how many more plates of food am I gonna eat before I get sick?
Okay.
Yep.
That way I know when to stop.
Okay.
7.
As you cast the spell outward, I'll post it. Let me just reveal it to everyone so that way they can see too. I don't know why it's sending it directly to me. But regardless.
Oops.
Okay. So, that's okay. So that's the other force. Like if you cast it multiple times, if you technically could use them multiple times in the day, but every time you use them, there is a 25% chance after the first one that it'll be wrong.
I see.
Okay, you receive for a brief moment a vision in the back of your mind. You feel as though your stomach is bursting, but as you look to the inside this like mental vision that you're receiving, you look to your right and to your left, and you see you probably have a good 2 to 3 more plates of food before your stomach physically hurts to the point where you don't want to eat anymore.
I sit there and I realize I understand what happened, and I ignore it and keep eating it.
As you go and you grab some more food, they like scrape off some more meat off of the rotisserie for you to eat. You being like, no, I asked for this much food, like Ron Swanson style. As you come back with just this stack on your plate, you realize that it didn't specify how much was on your plate when you had your moment. You just know that it was 3 plates of however much was on them. It'd probably be about the time where your stomach will start to really, really hurt.
Okay.
As Ono has probably like half the size of plates that he's like cleaning up all nice with like prestidigitation and like giving back to people and like profusely saying thank you in typical Ono fashion. a druid would bring you another. Given how quickly you downed that barrel, they'd probably bring you another one of milk, which they would describe to you as oxen milk, something that you haven't had at least in a long time, which is why I kind of felt familiar. You probably haven't had that since you were traveling with the Strong Shield clan themselves, but it's a very nice home-like taste. And this one being a little bit colder, not quite as fresh as the first one that you had, but still, not frigid in any way. As the party continues to eat, you would seeing the priestess give you the dice. She kind of uses her stick to stand back up a little bit wobbly, but able to do so nonetheless. And she nods to the party. You all did good out there. Please continue to look out for us in your travels. It's great to see the youthful doing something that, well, people like myself can't always do. So thank you very much, and please take these. And she Miris, she extends out to you just a handful of little berries, that you would recognize as a total of 8 good berries, which each berry can recover a person 1 HP, so you have technically 8 HP worth of healing that she just kind of gave all of you.
Well, thank you for these. Is there anything specific you need me to use them for, or?
No, just give them to who you think needs them, and you all just get yourself a good rest, and we might have some words to say in the morning. At least that might be me. I make no promise for the chief. And she looks over and she sees Taruk, a lot like Bictoon, is just scarfing down food.
I feel like we're competing without competing.
In a way, I feel like you guys would probably lock eyes every now and then.
Every time one of us goes up and gets another plate, the other one's like, well, I guess I gotta get another plate then.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And even with his larger size, you see that he's probably eating about the same amount of food as you. So, does that mean that he's eating less than he should be, or you eating way more than you should be? Hard to say, but you guys seem to... You guys, you have this silent competition going. You'll, go grab, a giant plate of food, and he's like, no, just empty the rest of it onto my plate here and grab another rack or something.
I feel like we're getting close to the point where it's just we're not even asking for plates anymore. We're just taking the spits with us.
I mean, right. Pretty much. Spit. Speaking of spits, Spit, your lovely goblin buddy, is just past the F out. He's in food coma mode. He has, probably about the same amount of food as Ono, but he ate it so fast that he's just, tummy resting, needs sleep, and he just, fell backwards onto, a fur that's, laid out. Not covered in anything. Ono's probably going to grab him just a bedroll, or Aethros would throw him a bedroll, and just out in the open here with the warm fire that's bringing the temperature up to a tolerable temperature outside of a tent. He's just passed out, and everyone seems to kind of as they're walking around him, they see him laying there snoring, a little snot bubble coming out of his nose, trying to be quiet as they move around him, understanding that he was a contributing member today, and he deserves just as much rest as everybody else, being a party member of the Broken. So, for once, unlike a lot of other places, there's no, weird eyes that see him as a goblin here. They see him as a party member, like all of you, as an equal, which is a nice thing to Ono, as, he kind of just, comforts the little man before kind of returning to the main group here. I worry about how long we're going to stay. Are we planning on maybe leaving in the morning, in the evening here? I mean, I guess he looks down, tries to do some calculations in his head. I mean, I guess based off of I can't really see for sure, but the amount of time that we've been awake, I can only assume and it's probably sometime early afternoon. Resting middays. Well, not normally our thing, but I guess everything feels dark up here. I know the longer we wait, the more distance she gains on us. One thing we don't know is how long it takes her ritual to complete. I don't know how many days we have before everything kind of hits the fan.
Well, we need rest, so we stay here tonight and figure it out once everyone wakes up where we're going. Hopefully get some directions or hints or clues or something on where to go.
Out of from behind you all in a small group of like younger members of the encampment, some like teenage age people, you see an older woman that you're very familiar with push her way through, reaching all of you, a cane in her hand, as she's had but not used all the time. She looks down at all of you, a snowy owl, her companion, on her shoulder. I see we're all making ourselves at home here. I know it's temporary. A mere singular setback on our road to finding Hedrun. But there's some news I should probably share with all of you. We're going to need to find other transportation out of this encampment. Your tank is, well, for lack of better words, immobile.
I feel like the plate in my hand would drop and I'd stand up and be like, where are my polar bears? And I feel like Irini and I at the same time would be like, where are our polar bears?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Same, like, words, same time, like, Jinx level of, like, synchronization between the two of you. As, Irini especially just, like, stands up in this, like, small fit of rage, like, kind of approaches Valine, and Valine raises her hand. She's like, your polar bears are fine. I had some of the people here help me with them. They're serving no harm. If you paid attention, I suppose, you would see that they're taking some meat to them as we speak. They are safe. Don't worry about that. They're in the camp here. They're being well taken care of. But, the lightning tank it's not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. I fear it'd be too long to repair it, before we would, well, run out of time for your current mission that is taking precedence here, the stop of this ice witch Hedrun. And, upon hearing about the lightning tank and its current situation, while still keeping an eye on you, Big Toon, you would see Chief Taruk has like brought his plate with him, and like with his hand holding the plate, you see like he's like occasionally bends down or like lifts it up to his mouth and just like as if a canine ripping a piece of meat off of like a dead animal, he just like scarfs it down. In this disgusting yet respectable fashion. A little bit of like blood spatter and like juices from the meat kind of splatter onto his face, and he like drops the plate and like falls into like a small pile of snow to not break, and he like wipes it off. I might have a solution for that, but this particular conversation is best left after you've all rested. You're going to, well, some of you, I'm going to need your assistance in, well, getting it ready to go. And he like looks.
Well,
you would see like he looks like Athros and Ono, but he definitely like would look back at you, Big Toon, to see where you're at on your food intake.
Yeah, while he's talking the entire time, I doubled down on the speed I was eating it.
You son of a gun. You know what? Make a Constitution check for me. I want to see if you choke.
Like I was like, ooh, an advantage.
Oh, I thought it was a 2 at first. I'm like, how the fuck did you get a 15 out of a 2? It's a 12. As you just like seeing him get up and take a moment to like talk to the party, like as if, oh my god, this like everyone would see you just channel this inner primal ferocity, and you just inhale the meats and the foods on your plate. Little bit of broth from like the bone broth that they had that you kind of grab just as an extra to kind of like wash it down, slurping it like it's just nothing, and it's just like it is very impressive, to a point where even Taruk is like, he doesn't want to concede quite yet, but he's afraid of what'll happen if he doesn't, given how much you're inhaling. I would say at this point, Tum Tum's starting to feel a little full, and you've realized that this was your third rather large plate since channeling the dice that you had that you had finished. He looks down at his plate that he just dropped, and he sees like the juices from the meats that didn't end up on his face, like kind of mix into the snow, a snow cone of meat liquid, if you will, and he looks at you, and just this ferocity of your fangs, like everything is out there, and he gives this very respectable nod. I can see that in this meal after that battle that, well, for once I might be outmatched in terms of food consumption. I didn't think that was possible. Who but the Strong Shield would hold competition for me?
I finally stop eating for a second, and I say, "Oh, thank God, I'm done. Thank God you're done eating, because yeah, I was not going to stop until I won."
I want you, Big Toon, to make a history check with advantage. Not just because you scarfed all that meat. Oh,
wow.
Damn. Never mind. Nothing clicks. You pause for a moment, you're like, huh. Why does something feels weird here, and then you just go back to just like finish like licking the liquids off your plate. It's like, it's not that important. That's impressive.
That was bad.
Ibrin, the level of civility, Ibrin and Miris, just because it's the two of you here, the level of civility amongst a lot of the members of your party has, for the moment of this meal, gone quite out the window.
I mean, it's par for the course, right, Maris?
Yeah, that seems pretty usual.
After you all take a nice long rest, please use the tents we have here. Grab any supplies you might need out of your, immobile machine. Rest as long as you need. I wish to speak with all of you in the morning. Please, find me. Find me once first light hits, or I guess since we're in the middle of a foresty grove, and he looks around and like the light that you're seeing from outside from the trees is very minimal. Well, when you wake, come find me. I have something to discuss with you. Until then, please rest, enjoy yourselves, mingle with people here, do whatever you wish. I will see you all then. I'm going to, he like belches like super loudly. A little bit of food kind of comes back out in a rather gross fashion, but the belch is low and bassy, so it's one of those nice burps that leaves you feeling good inside after you're done. I'm going to go lay down, maybe have some milk, and figure out how I'm going to lead fully without my right arm. But that's for me to worry about. Not for you to bother yourself with at least right now. He lets out a small hearty laugh. I will see you all tomorrow.
Well, see you tomorrow. I feel like he's about to go to his room and cry that he doesn't have a right arm, considering he keeps bringing it up.
As he's walking away, I'd like to try to out-burp him.
Okay. make because you won the ingestion of meat, which is gonna be my new band name, I guess. Because you won that, I would say make a performance check with advantage.
I feel like if I fail, this is going to be very not good for me.
This burp of yours, not only is it the lowest and the basiest of burps you've had in a while, but your burp mixes with that of like your victory like roar that you do at times, and it just echoes throughout the encampment to a point where people who are like playing some like drum like instruments as the dancing kind of continues around the fire stop for but a brief moment and just listen to the sound that has been put before them. And then just like you hear like a couple of the people within the encampment utter out in a couple of different languages, one of which is common, just the word "very nice, sir."
As soon as I'm done, I shrug and go, yeah, it was all right, and I start walking away.
As he walks away, I would like Matra to do the same thing. See if she can be the loudest one. I feel like that'd be hilarious.
As you look at Matra and you kind of like nudge her to like be like you would notice that she does not like every other time that you've like had some form of physical interaction with her. She's always been like, "Don't touch me." She seems to be, I mean, other than the familial trauma that has happened today, she seems to be rather okay with you right now, which is a different twist on what you've experienced previously. And she, with a rather embarrassed smile coming over her face, she'll try.
Rini, give her inspiration.
Yeah, okay. And she, oh wait, does she have any inspiration? She might not have any inspiration. I think she...
If she has one, can Athros and, oh no, guide her, or one of the two.
Okay. Does she have one? She does not have any inspiration. However, I would say they would definitely want to see if somebody can challenge Big Toon's title, Athros in particular. And I would say that we're gonna give her a little bit of buff. She'll have I will say we'll choose between you can either choose between between guidance or advantage. She is a charisma caster, so she'll already have some proficiency in
I'd take the advantage.
Okay. Just to see. Do I feel confident in beating him? No. But that's me as the god of this world. No. As I'll reveal it so I'm not cheating. As Matra tries to let out this loud and bellowy burp, while it does also resonate briefly throughout the encampment, it has no power in comparison to what Big Toon had. As you walk away, Big Toon, you hear this, and you can tell that it was definitely probably pushing her vocal cords a little bit more. Like she probably has a little bit of hurt after that one, but it doesn't even come close.
Well, hey, I'm proud of you for trying. That was pretty impressive.
It felt good, after a day like today. I think I needed that.
I'd say so too.
Ibran, I'm sorry I've been really, really harsh at you during our travels together. Well, I was in the wrong for how I was treating you, and I genuinely appreciate you bringing me back to consciousness today. Something tells me I probably wouldn't have been able to any other way. So you have my thanks.
I mean, I feel like even with the history, you did the same to me. So you're part of the family here, whether it be just for a little bit or longer than that. So no problem. And kind of put my hand on her shoulder.
And
But
yeah, she again doesn't seem to doesn't seem to shrink back or anything like that. Kind of accepting um, how much the party up to this point has kind of cared about her own well being. At times, even more than how she cared herself. But it's sort of appreciative. Gives a kind of a there's a warm feeling there. As she her face is still a little bit red. She sips on some form of cold weather fruit, some sort of frosty fruit juice, and sets her plate down using. I think she has prestidigitation herself. Does she? She does not. Well, she would hold it in her hand, and then when someone would walk past, they would ask if they could take her plate and cup, and she would thank them as they take it and go. The plates themselves have been all made of wood, definitely carved over the time that the encampment has been moving around the north. But it's a very nice feeling as she sighs. Well, I don't know how long it'll take for us to find her again, but I know that deep down we will be able to, and I'm feeling mostly confident in our ability to rescue my sisters, plural. And Aethros would chime in and be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna smack one of them with my hammer." Yeah, I know. I appreciate that instead of just cracking her skull, just trying to save her. He's like, well, I make no promises that I won't crack a skull, but I am gonna smack her with my hammer, and we're gonna free her. It'll all be good. As Aethros would not competing with Big Toot and Taruk, he would take his plate with him as he gets up. Well, I don't know about all of you, but I'm gonna go take a nice long nap, and hey, Big Toon, wait for me as he tries to go catch up to you to go rest. Since you two normally share a location to rest, just rushing off, leaving the rest of you sitting by the fire.
Well, I would gesture to the party and be like, hey, we should probably follow suit. Irini, we should probably go check on our bears. Oh no, hopefully they can give us something comparable to the lightning tank, because we have a ballista we have to try to bring with us. Wonder how much more broken that got.
I am. Well, if it's broken any more than what it is right now, I think. I think we could probably repair it. But you're right. It needs a bit of assembly. I do sincerely hope they give us something that is worth the time and efforts that we put into surviving today.
Yeah. Time will tell.
He would look to Miris. Miris, a good job today on the on burning a hole through the ice. I know that Ibran might have mentioned something about that to everyone in our combats, but you have this natural ability to just. It was very impressive. It reminded me a lot of when I breathe fire and do my thing, but it was a smart move, and I wouldn't have followed suit if I didn't think it would work, and you proved it could work. So thank you. You did an amazing job today.
Oh, well, thank you for that. Yeah, I just sort of thought of that out of thin air, and I just wanted to give it a try, and it's actually really surprised that worked. The ice was really thick.
Yeah, I wonder about that. I mean, I have lots of theories, and he pulls out his spell book that while everyone's been eating, he's been pondering a bit too, and he has pages upon pages of notes from his quill constantly writing, and he pages back a couple of them. I do wonder I mean, the serpent itself was made out of a magical ice. It's possible that this ice maybe was magical in nature too. Maybe weak to the fire like the serpent. Well, actually, no, the serpent wasn't weak to fire, but maybe the ice was weak to fire, and that's why we were able to burn a hole through ice even that thick. Or maybe, and he just like starts rambling off a bunch of these like arcane theories, and like for the most part, you're able to follow him because you're also a scholar. But then at times he kind of goes off on his own tangent, and like I don't want to say it's a snooze fest because it's really not, but like his some of his theories prove to be like a bit out there, almost like conspiracy level. And then he comes back, he's like, but that doesn't make any sense. It would never get that weird. And he just like pages a little bit forward. But I am very interested in well, the unfortunately when the serpent became a bunch of icicles, the ice seemed to have lost a lot of its arcane magic. I know it was made of charlatan, and I'm very interested in that substance for my own research purposes. It's part of why I came here to the north, but I have not found a really great sample of it yet. So if we see any of that, be sure to let me know, because I would gladly like to collect a sample so I can study it and its magical composition. And he just like he closes his book and he like gives you this like really good nod, and he's like slaps you like on the back like lightly, like with like camaraderie, and is just like, oh, you did so good today. And he just like what kind of walks with you really proudly forward, like looking for an empty tent to kind of like lay in for the evening.
Yeah, I guess I'll follow him and try to find a tent as well.
Okay. As Ibrin, you and Irini, and I would say not a comatose spit. Ono would probably come back and grab him at some point. The two of you would follow, truthfully, Valine deeper into the encampment, towards the area that you recognized where they kept a lot of the cattle, or like the elk that they have been trying to like track up to this point, like keeping some of them confined. You would recognize that the area that they're leading you to appears to be like almost like their stables. And as Valine leads you to the opening, where there's an open area in the forest that has been covering you up to now, you would see how heavy the snow is coming down, and a lot of the cattle and like other creatures are kind of keeping out of the center, as snow is piling up rather quickly in a not even a small like containment, but rather something that they had to have makeshift together rather quickly, magical or non-magical, the way it's kind of woven together. You would see Ugg and Tug comfortable and still mowing down on food that they had been given. Some of it's been cooked, but they seem to prefer the raw materials themselves. You see that they've been given like some form of beef product, and they seem rather content with it, as like there's a couple of different younger druids, no older than probably mid-20s, human in race, that are kind of petting them, and they are rather chill about it.
Well, that's good to see. I'd go give him a couple scritches and then head off to bed.
Okay. You go up and you give them scritches, and they are very happy to see you and Irini. Little bear tails going kind of crazy for a hot second as you kind of show the people who are petting them like where the... I mean, I don't want to say you do show them, but if you decide to, you'd show them where the good scritch spots are, to kind of...
I'd show them where the sweet spots are.
Okay. And like at one point they would even, like, one of them would like roll off onto their side, opening up their belly. It's a wholesome moment between like you two and Ugg and Tug, as you give them their final scritches and like kind of let the Jews know to kind of keep an eye on them, and they're like not worried about it. There's always people rotating when they're awake and not. Like there's a shift of people who kind of keep watch at night. They'll make sure that they come in and like make sure that they're doing okay, as someone has to keep watch over the encampment. Eventually you find your way back towards where you guys were all eating your food. The fire itself still going strong. Dance is still going on, but the food seems to be primarily collected. There's still some available, like should a person want a snack at some point in the night, but nothing that's like a full-on meal that like Big Toon had scarfed down. As all of you, one by one, will find your way to a tent. Some of you pairing up, like Athros and Big Toon generally pair up. Ono, Irini, and Spit would probably all lay in the same tent. Miris and Ibran, I envision the two of you, unless you really want separate tents, would probably share one too. If I'm wrong on any of this, please let me know. As the night goes on, you will all be able to take a long rest. And with these new character sheets to do so, if you haven't seen already, it's in the top right. It looks like a tent, a little triangle, to be able to roll. The food one is a short rest, so the other one would be a long rest. Awesome. I will do our three other individuals. Players, Athros, long rest. And this will be considered a new day when you all will awake. So you can make sure that's still highlighted. If it's not, it'll be fine. I don't think it really actually impacts most things. Long rest, and then, oh no, long rest. Okay. As all of you sleep, let me open up my document. You all will have a synchronized dream. Just gotta open it up first. Okay. As the party lulls off to sleep at various points, like throughout the day here, it's still technically daytime, quote unquote, but it's always night right now in the north, so time is an illusion in the fullest form. As you rest and dream from within the confines of the tents prepared for your party to recover after the battle you had today, your consciousness falls into a deeper sleep than normal. Instead of your usual range of dreams, for those of you who have them, cough cough Ibran, even you would have this as a moment after a long battle like today, being able to kind of fall into this deeper trance. You find yourself mentally, your consciousness is being pulled north. Far across the vast cold of the Icewind Dales, the rise and fall of the mounds of snow that carry and are sculpted by the wind that blows across this frozen wasteland. As you're pulled, you slowly begin to see a light, starting small and quickly becoming several dozens, then nigh almost 100 different lights, as the storm that engulfs the Druid encampment has not reached this location yet. Your vision pulls you to the center of a town, navigating through different streets that you have become familiar with as you have been here before. This is the city of Easthaven. And as your vision continues to navigate these streets, you find yourself catching up to a party of 3 people, and into the back of the head of someone you have met before. Speaker Daneth Whalen. Accompanying him are his guard captain, Imdra Argalath, is her last name, or just Imdra for short, and the Tabaxi Kanit of the Plain Guard. Your vision becomes Daneth Whalen's vision. His movements become yours as you listen to their conversation. Kanit, I'm glad you were able to answer our call and come to help us here in Easthaven. I've heard the great things that you've done to help with the city of Brinshander and with that most recent battle with that mechanical dragon only a few days ago. You give me a lot of credit, but I could not have taken down such a creature on my own. I have the Broken and Brinshander's militia to thank for that. Kanit replies, lighting a cigarette with a clockwork lighter that he pulls from his coat.
Did he get a new mechanical hand yet, or is it still the one Ono built for him?
It's still the one that Ono had built for him, so basic functionality. The captain of the guard, Indra, pipes in. We're familiar with the Broken. They helped us by providing a cauldron that gives us an endless food supply. Our townsfolk will no longer go hungry. However, a member of the Plain Guard, as well as yourself being a member of Wayard's Bounty, that's quite a treat for us here in the north. It's very seldom we have someone of your skill set here, let alone for a mission. Regardless of my skills and my history, you have summoned me here while Brinchander is still recovering from its recent attacks. Can you give me detail as to what you need, Speaker Wayland? Please, call me Daneth. And he, raises, you raise your hand as Daneth Wayland to, say that there's no need for that formality. You don't need to refer to me in such a light. I summoned you here, Khaneet, because I think you can help us with a problem that we have. You see, people are beginning to disappear in the night. This started a few days ago, and originally I thought maybe it'd be a saber-tooth or something coming for a late-night meal, but the people who are going missing don't have any sign of struggle or break-in. They seem to almost be going missing as if pulled directly away from the inside of their homes. No entry found. This feels magical in nature to me. I don't even know how to begin investigating this dilemma with my current guard. No offense, Imdra. And Imdra, the guard captain, shakes her head. We aren't exactly adept at this type of work. Our investigations usually have some form of solid lead. If there's a murder in the streets, there's blood trails or witnesses, that sort of thing, but nobody knows anything about the people who are missing. Not that they don't know who they are in town. We could name every person who's gone missing from in town here, but they don't know how they've gone missing. They haven't seen them leave at any part of the night, or didn't have any indication that they were going anywhere. All we know so far is that they're being targeted all within the deepest hours of the evening, and that each missing person has something about them that's wrong. Khaneet turns his head to face Imdra a little more closely, an inquisitive look on his face. Wrong. What did you mean by that? One of the victims was missing a few of their fingers. Another had an amputated foot, and one had an illness that was very difficult to cure. Things like that. Each person had something that wasn't fully right. I see. And how many people are missing so far? You, as Daneth, would chime in. Well, so far it's about 30. More people go missing every night. I'm really hoping you can help us find out what's going on before too many more are gone, and ideally, help us find those who have disappeared as well. Khaneet would reply, Speaker Daneth, I will do what I can to help. Is there a location that I could, so you say, set up shop? Yes, we'll provide you with free lodging at the White Lady Inn, and you can take over one of the conference rooms at Town Hall to help with your investigation. Anything that we can do to provide you with support, we will gladly do. As this part of the conversation takes place, the three of them, yourself being Daneth, will enter, push open the doors and enter through into Town Square, where you see a familiar receptionist, young male in nature, patiently talking to a very old gentleman in a priestial garbs. There you are, Speaker Wayland. We must continue our conversation about how to stave off Oryl's cold on the next new moon. Do you have time right now? We have less than 2 weeks until the next expected sacrifice. The old man, he approaches the trio, trying to kind of usher you and Imdra away from Khaneet, towards Daneth's primary chambers. And who is this new visitor to town? Welcome. don't mean to cut your conversation short, but whatever it is, I hope it can wait till a later time. Right, my apologies, Priest Gustavos. I seem to have lost track of time. This here is Kanit of the Plain Guard. He's here to help us with our missing persons problem. And you point to your right. Captain Imdra, can you please help set Kanit up with anything he may need? Thank you, Captain. Please, join us when you are done. And you and Gustavos will begin walking into your chambers. Yes, sir. Imdra will reply and usher Kanit off to the side. You can hear mumblings of Imdra explaining to Kanit who Priest Gustavos is as they walk away. You and Gustavos move into your chamber and he shuts the door behind him. The speaker Daneth. If you recall our previous conversations, I think I might have found a way for us to avoid needing to sacrifice townsfolk for this new moon. You would reply, I recall you mentioning something, but we were cut short because this is when the first news of missing persons began. Well, yes, you see, I think we can stave it off, but and as he begins to lead into this conversation, you feel the conversation quickly becomes audibly blurred, bubbly almost, as you feel your consciousness being pulled away from Dana's body, back across the frozen wastelands, and back, returning you to the normal dreams that you would have in the middle of the night. Big Tune dreaming of maybe just like enjoying more milk, or maybe something involving the Strong Shield clan. Miris, the hopes of finding your more pages from your book. Ibrin, something pertaining to either the quest that's before you relating to Hedrun, or memories of your parents and moments of your childhood, things that fill you with that would fill you with a sense of joy, as you all rest and will wake up. I mean, in truth, it will be your choice. You've all had a very long day. I will say you could either rest for the full 8 hours, or wake up, like if you don't want to wake up in the late of night right now, you could wake up a little bit like early morning, like probably 4 or 5 a.m. It would be about 10 o'clock roughly when your rest would be, or not 10 o'clock, almost 11, when your long rest would be completed.
I'm gonna sleep all the way through.
I feel like this might be one of those scenarios where like the party just doesn't wake up till morning.
Food coma as it is.
Over exhaustion and several near-death experiences.
Okay. As the party will awake in the early hours of the morning, one by one, you would hear like a sound of what seems to be some form of Arctic bird ushering up a song within the evergreens that your tents are kind of nestled underneath. As you do awaken, you would find that definitely the storm that has been passing through has left a large blanket of snow covering many of the pathways that were created as part of the encampment. You would see that there's like a couple sets of footprints from like maybe patrolling through the night, someone who has been through the area, but they have been mostly filled back in, probably between the hours of like midnight and 4 a.m. As the party would awake and kind of look outside the tents, you would see like even the area where you all were eating before, earlier this yesterday evening, has been just coated in easily 6 to 8 inches of snow. One of the younger members of the encampment kind of trying to grab some of the furs or leathers that were covering the ground to like whip the snow up, and struggling really hard. And like one of the friends kind of comes to like help them lift it as they like throw the snow off to the side to like try to begin clearing out an area, like a common gathering place once again. As another is like trying to start a fire once more from the embers that were from the night before. The fire not being covered in snow, but just smoldering embers. Someone bringing new sticks and like logs to like get it to roar, but still in the early stages. You would see on the far end here, as you can't quite see Chief Taruk's tent just because of the positioning of the trees. You would see Priestess Gresh just kind of like having a conversation with one of the elder druids within the encampment. So it's early enough morning, but it's still a bit quiet at this time of at this hour. You would feel pretty confident that Chief Taruk, if he was still sleeping, he'd probably wake easy. If he's awake, which is highly likely given when everybody rested, that you'd probably be able to go and find him whenever your heart desired. As Ono would wake, along with like Arini and Spit, they would probably look outside the tents and look for anybody else who might be awakened. Big Tune, you would hear like the audible sound of Athros with like an audible yawn, waking, checking over his gear, looking and seeing that like he had like probably drooled in the middle of the night. There's like an icicle kind of hanging off the side of his mouth. Hey, buddy.
What? What?
That was a good nap. I feel like I slept all night. He like looks out and he sees there's a little bit of light kind of coming in from the early morning sun. Oh, I guess we did.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not surprised. Still like so tired.
Oh yeah, like between the difficulty of this encounter, the soreness of your muscles, and the sheer quantity of food that you have eaten, I want you to make a Constitution saving throw this time.
How do I make it a saving throw?
On your below where all the attributes are, there should be a section that specifically says saving throws. You have to click on the dex or like yeah, they're separate now on these new sheets.
I was scrolled down.
Things aren't looking good. Between your stomach settling and, like I said, the quantity of food that you've eaten and the ingestion of milk that you had the previous night, there's a lot of things working against you here, and you feel for about a moment you have the ability to clench your sphincter as you need to find a restroom. You need to find one in a hurry.
Fortunately, I feel like I'm still a little groggy, so I don't have quite the movement speed I know.
Oh, this is going to be great.
So, yeah, I mean, I get up and moving, but here, let's
Check your dexterity.
yeah, I was gonna maybe make an acrobatics check or athletics, or
you're gonna make a and it's gonna be because of the level of balance you need to have here to try and find your way out to a latrine of sorts. I'm gonna say it's gonna be an acrobatics check, and I'm gonna say you're going to have a minus 1d4 penalty to your roll.
Okay.
So it'll just be a minus 1d4.
Yeah.
At 1 and a 4 on top of it.
Wait, did that not? No, that didn't proc, right?
It did not. So you roll.
So it would have been what?
It'd have been 11 if we subtract the 4.
Yeah.
So as we as you make your way outward, you could tell it's gonna be coming real soon, and like in your groggy state, you're like having to like find yourself grabbing onto some of the trees that seem you don't remember there being this many trees last night as you were on your way to go to bed, but in this moment here, man, it feels like there's at least like 3 times the amount of trees you have to navigate through, and you just see like this young child, like 10 years old, looking up at you, and you're like rushing with a hurry, one hand covering your butt, the other hand like trying to grab on the trees, and they just like point. They don't even say anything. They just like point, towards the back of the encampment as you as you continue to navigate your way through the through the layer of snow that has taken on this ground. I want you to make a survival check for me with a minus 1d4 penalty as well. Let's see if it doesn't roll right, we'll just roll the d4 separately going forward. It might be a thing that I have to figure out in Foundry or something.
Yeah, I just did -1d4. Let's see if
it had an asterisk after the 4. That might have been why.
No, I didn't put an asterisk on it. I just put -1d4. But let me try it like this. See if putting a space in between will do.
It did the same thing.
Nope.
I'll see if I can figure out what we got to do for that going forward.
Yeah.
So it'll be a 2. The child pointed you in the right direction, but you're trying to follow the footprints from like previous people who've needed to use it, and you're in your hurried state, in this frantic need to find El Baño. You just like, almost as if becoming snowblind, you don't see their footprints anymore, and as you stop for a second, which seconds are crucial in this moment, you like look around and you don't know which direction the latrine actually is. She pointed you this direction. You feel confident, but now you're not sure if there was a turn maybe you needed to make following tracks. You are lost in the Druid encampment. Seconds are crucial. Seconds are crucial here. What would Big Toon like to do?
Honestly, just
Take a
give
fucking
up.
hole.
Yeah,
Hole.
please. Hole? Come on now. Give up, shrug, find the nearest tree, and just
pop a squat. Okay. You look around to see if anybody's paying attention to what's going on, and you make sure that like you like hide your presence from like anybody who might be able to physically see you, and you just drop a squat, and it is an experience. There will be no friction in the wiping for some time.
yeah. I feel like I saw one person as I was trying to find quick, and I was just like, "You're gonna want to look away. This isn't gonna be pretty."
Just like trying to put 2 and 2 together, what you meant quickly as you're like going into like your squat position, takes your message and just like runs, just gets the heck out of Dodge. As the rest of the party, while Big Toon is I wouldn't quite call it suffering, but I wouldn't call it an enjoyable experience. Having a moment far away from the group. Aethros would kind of like get up and like wander to the nearby tents that the party has been staying in. How did everybody sleep?
This roll is gonna be how many minutes it takes me.
Absolutely. Oh lordy.
Okay, that could be worse.
I mean, that's better than what it could have been. Every time, I would like to say during this, every time you feel like there's nothing left, you quickly have to re-squat as more appears. To the point where you don't realize how much you ate until you realize afterwards how much you ate. And drank for that matter. As Aethros kind of stands over Miris and Ebron's your tent. I think he wanted us to meet with him, right? Chief Taruk, something about wanting to give us, or might have an idea how to get us out of here faster.
Yeah, apparently Valine destroyed the lightning tanker. She was there, and now she's here, and our tank is destroyed, and it wasn't before, so...
Yeah, we really
Yeah.
didn't investigate that. But do you think it was her? Do you think she did it?
Yeah, who knows?
Ono and Arini coming to join the group huddled around your tent. Uh, Ono would look at Athros, look to the rest of the group. Oh, hi everyone. Um, so it's it's early. Um, hi, where's Kitty? And Athros would be like, just give him some space. He took off in a hurry. You know, it was a it was a night last night. If you get what I mean. He didn't take my tablet that I gave him. You know, this whole thing could have been prevented if I put all that time and effort into making these little tablets for him, and he just doesn't want to use them. I mean, I get it to an extent. He just goes off on this tangent about like lactate equivalent here in the fantasy world, and like, fighting through it because you don't really give a fuck, but at the same time, like, it's just his poor bowels, man. And Ono looks to Tamiris and Athros and did any was did anybody else have a weird dream about East Haven and Kenit, or was it just me?
No, I had that dream too.
Yeah, so did I.
So it sounds like beyond what we're already dealing with, that there's people going missing in East Haven. I wonder if it's anything like what Brinchander was maybe going through. If somehow the two things might be connected, or maybe they could just be, freak occurrences. But I have a feeling that there's some shady stuff maybe involved in this one.
Yeah, looks like that's gonna be our next area to go to. Hopefully that can point us to where Nature's sister is too.
Well, the Aethers would like chime in. I'll be honest. I don't know what any of you are talking about. The dream that I had last night it was not. I mean, it had Kenit in it, but it didn't have. I don't think it was the same. I think mine might have been different. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just. Maybe I just don't remember it right. I tend to not do that sometimes.
How about you describe the dream and tell us what yours was about?
Well, the dream that I had, it still had Kenit in it. It still looked like it was in East Haven, but it involved. I mean, in my dream here, Kenit was locked in, was in the middle of fighting Derogneil in the middle of town. The two of them seemed to have been at that point pretty evenly matched, and my dream cut out when there was a moment where Kenit was not pinned on the ground, but he didn't like bounce back up from his clash with Derogneil, and there was I couldn't make out who they were, but there was a silhouette of like someone about Ono's size that came and provided some support. But when he got there and he provided support to Kenit, that's when I woke up. But in my dream, Kenit and Derogneil were fighting. I don't know if that's me just having one of those the dreamer things that someone mentioned at one point that I think I can do, predicting the future, or if it was just me having an overactive imagination.
Well, regardless, it looks like that's something we should check in on, and the only way we have to do that is to go to East Haven and see.
Yeah, I think it might be worth us doing that, especially since And like, never mind. It'd be Ona who would say that. Aethros would not have that level of concern over the matter. Yeah, we might want to check in and see how that's going. But I think we still got to put our priority on stopping Hedrun from coming back. Maybe on our way back, if we survive that whole encounter, maybe we take a pit stop in East Haven and see what's going on. I know it'd be nice to kind of see how things are going now that, I mean, it sounds like they're going good since they have our cauldron, but I guess I'm kind of curious on whatever happened to, what was his name? Gazpacho? The little halfling guy that we met at the White Lady Inn. I can't remember his name. Was it Remy? It was something along those lines. I don't know. It's been a while since we've seen him.
That's the one that wanted to do something with Irini, isn't it?
Irini would chime in. I don't think he wanted to, like, do and she, like, kind of puffs her chest a little bit, inappropriate things with me, but he wanted to give us a seance with that white lady's spirit thing, something about being able to help us. She can, like, answer a question of give us an answer to something, like a guaranteed answer to a question that we might have, or we'd piss her off or some shit. I don't freaking remember. I just know that he was into spirits and stuff. I think his name was did she, like, ponders for a moment? I don't remember what his name was either, but yeah, he was that. He wanted to do ghost stuff, and I ain't about that life.
I mean, a guaranteed answer sounds pretty good right now, considering the one person we want to find can see literally any movement we do with inside fucking snow. That's all this goddamn place does. As you can tell, Euron's getting irritated with all this snow.
It is, yeah. There's a lot of snow. As the party has these conversations, Big Tune, you finally feel friction amidst your butthole as you think you've expelled the last of the disgusting monstrosity that you have left behind this tree.
Stand up, like do like the what do you want to, like, with your hand, like, just all right, and just walk away.
Like the job well done, dusting the hands.
Yeah, that would be the word. Yep, couldn't think of it.
Gotcha.
Yep, exactly. Same look and everything, just
satisfied with your work. As you begin to make your way back to the party, Big Tune, you would see coming from making your way. Like, you weren't the struggle that you had. You were probably no more than about 50 feet out from the tents that you guys were all residing in. And then, like, you would get back to the point about 20 feet in where, like, the little girl, like, pointed in the direction to, like, where to go relieve yourself. And you would see the rather tall, recognizable figure of Chief Taruk making his way towards the party, who's all kind of gathered around Ebrin and Miris's tent as you rejoin everyone. He would probably be there about the same time you would arrive after your wonderful experience you just had, as the towering figure of Chief Taruk makes his appearance. You would see his initially like a silhouette before seeing his official figure, Ebrin and Miris. The two of you still, I assume, since you don't really have to go anywhere right this second, since the party's gathered around you, maybe just chilling inside your tent. Good. You're all awake. I told you I wanted to talk to you about something, and that I might have something to help you on your endeavors. But I'll need a little help from some of you first. Anyway, you'll need to follow me. We'll be taking a small walk just outside the camp. Don't worry. I've been given reports from our patrolling individuals that there's nothing malicious waiting for us out there currently. This is an opportune time for us to, well, go where we need to go. So if you'll join me, well, I would very much like for you to join me.
Alright, let's go. Should we bring
Okay.
up polar bears or leave them here for now?
I think it would be good if you left them here. As
You're not gonna eat them, are you?
you shouldn't know. They I don't
Well,
think
I
you'll
don't
need
want
them where
to.
we're
I'm making
going.
sure you guys don't eat them.
Oh, I thought you said need them. We're not going to eat them. We believe that just as we eat the deer, so do they. They are a natural part of the cycle of life. That is not for us to hunt them for really any reason. They are an apex predator much like ourselves. As he kind of reassures you. I mean, you're more than welcome to check if you would like to.
No, I'm just making sure.
He reassures you that they're going to be there when you guys return. As the party will venture, it'll be east outside of the encampment itself, venturing out of the actual forested area. You see that for once in your travels in this frozen wasteland, there really isn't a lot of wind out in the open. It's been a long time since you felt that sense of calm. Usually it anticipates some form of storm, but the sky itself right now is rather clear. You see the red of the sun as it encroaches over just the edge of the horizon in the sky, leaving very little stars visible above you. An image almost on the as the sun rises from the east on the western sky. You see sort of the what seems to be the end of some form of like aurora borealis, a green and pinkish color, as while you guys walk out of the forest itself and get this glimpse. It begins to kind of fade away as the sun rises a little bit higher. The stars all kind of fading, leaving this beautiful red morning light that kind of engulfs the entirety of this frozen north. A rare moment in comparison to what you've experienced. I think the last time you all saw the weather in a nice condition like this, it was early in your travels, possibly in Termalaine or Targos. As you venture out into the wasteland, Taruk guiding you for what feels like probably close to about 15-20 minutes, to the point where like the trees are now becoming very, very small in the distance. But he reassures you probably every 5 or so minutes that we are traveling down the right path, that there are people waiting for all of us there from the encampment. And as you turn around a bend, heading deep into the not heading down into like almost this I don't want to say ravine, but like this dip, alongside a set of rocky extruding like this pocket of extruding rock. You see that as this dip goes down, probably like angle wise, the total height that you'll be dropping is probably close to about 150 feet. It's a rather decent drop over about I don't know, probably about 500-600 foot. No, that's too short. Probably about 1,500 feet of walking downward. The angle itself being tolerable, but still kind of steep. 10 degree incline's not the absolute worst. You see that at the bottom of this, there appears to be a large opening that leads down into a cave. And while Ono and like Irini and a couple other people in the party, since you have a large traveling group. The group now, including Valine, since Valine doesn't have the lightning tank to hang out in right now, complaining a lot of the time, having to journey on foot here, not having her kobolds to just, like, pamper her as she walks. You go down to the entrance of this cave, and Taruk will stop and look at each of you. Your mode of transportation, I got a good look at it while I was conversing with the scouts this morning, and it is... I do not foresee you being able to repair it. At least not in the time it would take for what I assume Hedrun would need to complete her ritual in the north. But I have something that, while I know some people in our encampment might not like me giving you, they won't vocalize it as long as the words come from me. I have a vessel here that we have found in our travels. It's why our encampment is close by. That I think all of you would benefit from more than myself. I would like to give it to you as a thank you for, well, not just saving my skin, but saving the skins of my people in whole, despite the defectors and, well, the damage that all you had taken. You did our encampment good, and this is my way of thanking you for it. And as he kind of moves off to the side, him being the tall figure that he is, blocking a lot of visibility, you see, residing within this cave, what looks to be a large ship carved out of wood in the shape of a whale. Atop this ship, you would see that protruding out as if they're like masts on a standard vessel are large tree trunks that wrap around a glass cylinder. The cylinder itself having a hole near the back, but vines kind of wrap around this large glass cylinder that resides empty within the entryway of this cave. This vessel is enormous. We are talking probably it's about 150 feet long by about 50 feet wide, and tall. It's probably close to about, I'm gonna say top to bottom, about between 80 and 100 feet tall. It is an enormous, essentially a ship. I'm gonna send you all a picture of what it looks like. In the campaign art folder. Well, now where the hell did it go? An absolutely massive whale-like structure. Yeah. As he looks it over, as he shows it all to you, he does like drop his head a little bit. This vessel, this you can call it whatever you want. We of the Druids call it Shiraha, which stands for free of travel. It is what our founder, Archdruid Viernik, had used to traverse across the countryside. This ship, while missing much of its function right now, is an airship. In its prime, it took Viernik across all of Vas'Kai, primarily in Weird. And I suspect that of all the people in your group, well, actually, not of all the people in your group, of all the people that I could give this to, your group will be the one who will probably get the most out of it and be able to make it fly once more. It used to be powered by a storm elemental. So they say, so the history books tell. The storm elemental gave it the ability to fly. But that storm elemental has since gone. We of the encampment, we spent the better part of the last 15 years while traversing the north, finding hints and clues as to where it might be. Now, when I say we were looking for the vessel, we weren't looking for it for the purposes of using it to transport ourselves. We were using it for the purpose of trying to find the body of Viernik, the founder of our group, the tribe of the Eagle. I want, as he's saying that, I want Bictune to make another history check with advantage, but god damn it, I'm gonna give you a +3 on this roll, factoring in proficiency that you might not have right now.
Okay. Let's see here.
I was like, should this be one of the things where like everybody gives him everything? Bardic inspiration, guidance.
Yeah, sure. He'll get +3 from me, and I think Ono will be like, you look a little deep in thought, buddy, and give you a guidance 1d4.
Straight, and then 1d4 +3, and you said with advantage too?
Yes. So you have a lot of bonuses to this roll. There we go.
I still tried my hardest to fail.
You upon hearing him say the tribe of the Eagle, you remember something about something that you heard while you were traveling with your father and like learning all about the history of like the Strong Shield clan. You recognize tribe of the Eagle because your clan and the tribe of the Eagle at times of the past had worked very, very closely together. In particular, there was one event in your history before. When I say your history, I mean the Strong Shield clan, not directly you. This would have been we'd be looking at probably close to. Well, Strong Shield has been around for thousands of years in some way, shape, or form. It would probably be about 1,000 years ago, when your clan had partnered with the tribe of the Eagle to wipe out a half-dragon clan, cult, whatever you want to call them, known as the hold on, I gotta think of what I actually referred to them as. 1 second. The Dragoon family. So they were a group of half-dragons who worshipped Tiamat, who had caused a lot of problems in lower, south of the spine of the world. No more than maybe, I would say 50 miles from where your clan was wiped out. You actually, like, your clan was passing through there, going to one of the, like, you would pass one of the memorial sites of that battle, as they helped you survive that encounter, and provided a wonderful support with your family during that period of time. The family, like, verbally tells, like, the Strong Shield clan tells stories of that particular situation, as there was no governmental support, there was no forces from neighboring cities telling you whether or not you should or shouldn't. It was the Strong Shield clan and the tribe of the Eagle together keeping the natural balance against this massive family of half-dragons, which, if you're not familiar with half-dragons, my wonderful players here, they're like Dragonborn, but they have different traits of dragons than what Dragonborns do. There's no, like, it's not like Dragonborns where there's like where there's like a set lineage that like mutated to create these. Half dragons are a lot like half elves in that they're someone in their past banged a dragon, and it shows in their offspring, and this is a lineage that's been carried on for an insurmountable amount of years. But this particular family was raising a lot of problems south of the spine of the world, and you worked with the the tribe of the eagle to eliminate them, as was to keep the natural order. As Chief Taruk looks down at the party, he does a slightly solemn look on his face. All we want is to preserve that which remains of Archdruid Viernelik and rightfully lay him to rest, but before we do so, I know many of our clansmen have questions for him, which we can answer thanks to Priestess Gresh providing us with spiritual support. The vessel itself is something your group is more than welcome to take should you be able to activate it once again. I feel quite strongly that there's someone in your group here that might be able to find a way to make that happen. And he looks primarily to Miris and to Ono. And he looks at Aethros, and Aethros is like, okay, good, I'm glad I'm not left out. As he would get everyone to look over. The problem that we have right now, though, is it's currently sealed shut. A door to get inside has some form of magical lock upon it that, even with some of the spells that we've tried previously with other members of our group, we can't seem to get it open. I'm hoping that maybe you might be able to provide us with some insight to be able to open that, or give it a gander yourselves.
I could definitely give it a try and see if I can figure out a way to unlock it.
I was gonna say, can I do an investigation?
Everyone, please, come with me. And he, ushers you inside the cave itself where the vessel actually sits, resting in this mound of snow, some of which had blown in recently from last night, you can tell. As you all are guided up a ladder kind of embedded within the wood itself. As you climb the side of the structure, you all would almost immediately get the sense that it feels as though this vessel, this Sharaha that they call it, it almost feels like it was alive at some point. Like it's resting now, but it doesn't feel like any airship that you've been on previously. As you all stand on the top deck now, he with a light layer of snow that had kind of settled on this surface, you follow him to the door that leads to the inner quarters, and you see a pulsating set of sigils that appear, and what looks to be a multi-leveled locking mechanism of sorts, embedded with a couple of different languages, and a central gem. Not so much like a jewelry type gem, but just like a sphere of sorts that seems to emanate a purple hue. As Miris and Ebrin, the two of you kind of reach the doorway in front of everybody else. I would say, Ebrin, you said you wanted to roll an investigation check.
Yeah, if Miris can help me to get me the advantage, that'd be great.
Sure.
Okay. As yep, I would say as Miris and you kind of give it a nice once over, Ebrin make an investigation check with advantage, as Miris kind of provides you with his input as the two of you look it over. You love to see it. Ebrin, the format of this lock feels very familiar. You recognize that the three different languages that are used in the formation of the different rotatable tumbler-esque systems on the outside, they are the same three languages that were used on or that appeared out of that Ono had mentioned when he was working with the puzzle box, and he mentioned that are on like the scroll that that was like within the puzzle box, but he hasn't used the scroll yet to do anything. But the languages that were on there, those being I believe Draconic, Elven, and Gnomish. You recognize even if you can't read what the language itself says, you would recognize the fontal script and like the format of the writing to be those languages based off of your previous experiences. The two of you would also be able to deduce that the door itself, based off of what Chief Taruk said too, like you confirm that it is magically sealed, and like even like taking like a light tap on like some form of like an area of the door, you feel pushback, as if it's like there's magic kind of pushing back any form of just like brute force trying to get it open. You feel as though it's going to require probably a magic touch to unlock the door. Not so much a physical one like with a set of thieves' tools.
Okay, Athros, you got a dispel spell available by chance?
Let me take a look at his spell sheet. Even if he doesn't have it prepared, I will force it to be prepared if he has it. Yeah, I think I could give it a whirl, but Miras, you said you might have something that you wanted to try, didn't you? What were you thinking?
Well, I was just gonna kind of wing it, I guess.
Firewall!
Yeah. I don't know, maybe I could use, like, well, maybe I could try to use, like, I don't know, something like a mage hand, maybe?
Okay. And how would you want to try and do that? Giving you creative freedom to try something.
Okay. I guess because you said there was like some sort of like magical lock or force or something on it.
Yes. You don't have to do anything if you don't want to.
Yeah, I'm just looking at all the spells I have. I'm just like, actually, I don't think I have anything.
You would see Athros take that moment and like crack his knuckles. All right, I'll give it a shot. And he's going to cast Dispel Magic, but he will need to roll for it because it is higher than 3rd level. Okay.
Something that he would have guided himself on.
I mean, he probably would have, but there was no need because he rolled a 22.
Then
As you see this door pulsating, this the purplish hue coming from the inlaid sphere in the center, and from some of the runes that decorate the outside of this door, Athros just walks up and with one of his hands he places it upon the door, utters an incantation, and casts Dispel Magic, and you watch as the door itself it opens, and you see that the 3 tumblers, the spherical tumblers that are all on the outside, each written with a different language, they kind of realign themselves in a different pattern than what they were. The purple sphere loses its purple hue, fades to like a translucent and you watch as the door falls down into like inside the vessel itself, disappearing into the floor below. For the first time in a untold amount of time, hundreds upon hundreds of years, most likely, this ship has been opened.
What's it smell like?
Absolutely awful. The inner chambers here, well, the entry that you would be coming into right now appears to be some form of like transitionary room. There are some like crates and stuff, and like a couple of chests that are a bit deteriorated, and some holes inside that like maybe some mice have chewed their way through at some point previously. And then like you see like the skeleton of said mice off in the corner with some petrified feces or something. The smell in here, you could tell that whatever goods were in here seem to have been food related, as they have since spoiled. The food itself has become nothing more than either a liquid goo substance or a solid goo, formerly goo substance, or in general just like an unhealthily cured form of like jerky, where it's just you really don't want to eat that. It's like a brick of meat. As you would see that there is a oh, sorry,
Go ahead.
you would see that there is a stairway, narrow, no more than maybe 3-4 feet wide, that kind of leads down to the next layer of the ship, a true inner, a true interior compared to this transitory room.
So, is there any like snow in this, or is the snow effect not reached inside of this ship?
You can tell that the snow has not reached inside of the ship.
Interesting.
It seems that the while there's clear decay and like whatever you want to call it, the time has definitely passed on the inside of this ship as far as contents that might have been here. It seems to be 100% sealed. Whatever holding the ship together, be it carved from one giant pieces of a tree or magical in nature, whatever seals it together has not leaked any form of exterior weather, like erosion effect inside. And honestly, the temperature inside seems a lot nicer than what you were expecting it to be. Probably being, instead of what you were working with up to this point being anywhere between like -30 and like 0, it's a comfortable probably 40 to 50 degrees inside here, it being out of the elements for so long.
Interesting.
Is the party gonna venture down to the second story, or I guess the middle story?
Yeah, I feel like this would be the time to show the chief everything about it and investigate around.
Okay. As the party ventures down to the next story, following the staircase down, you would hear the creaks of the wood, but nothing that would worry you about falling through. It just seems to be a natural occurrence, just due to age. You venture down maybe a total of like, I would say 10 feet down, 10 to 15 feet, and you turn around a corner and you would see this entire area, this next series of what you see starts off very much almost open concept. There's workstations in various locations scattered around the just beyond the entry point into this chamber. Looking farther back, like looking from the stairway forward. So like if you haven't turned around to see the workstation yet, you would see a doorway that anybody who's really been on a ship before, which the vast majority of you have, you would recognize as that of the captain's quarters. There is all the different workstations here that have, while a bit older in design, the functionality of various sets of kits that you could probably buy at a store built into the ship. So there's kits for, let me actually pull it up here before I say anything. Yes, this is something you will get access to, but I want to gotta reach a certain point first. It has sets of tinker's tools, smithing tools, jeweler's tools. There is a cartography table, empty vials for alchemist supplies, and also next to the cartographer's table there's also navigation tools. So you have 6 different sets of tools that are within this like open workshop like area. Ono sees this and he just immediately begins to get kind of giddy as he sees all of these different things. You see his eyes just go super wide, like a cat seeing a toy that they want for both the first time and also every time. You would see that beyond these, beyond this workstation, beyond all of these different locations here, are a set of 3 different rooms, which you would see and many of you would recognize as like your lodging area, your like, yeah, where crew would be able to go to sleep. Based off the size of the ship and just the amount of rooms that are here on this story, you imagine this crew, when it was in its prime, probably had there was probably a total of between 10 and 15 people who resided on this ship. The ship itself is massive, but it's, for the most part, it seems like you don't see a lot of controls for how to make it move, which gives you the feeling that it didn't need a giant crew to make that happen. As the party would be, I imagine, by the staircase. You see the 3 rooms on the end, you see the captain's quarters, you see the workstations. What would the party like to do?
That's a great question. Guess I would gesture over to Ono and be like, well, where do you think we should head once we get this thing fired up here?
Well, if there's in my experience, when it comes to airships, I guess depending on the design, they usually have some form of control node or something that gives it direction and the ability to function. Usually when we see those, they are within the captain's quarters. So if we're going to go anywhere, I think we should probably go to the captain's quarters. I know we have, like, he looks, like, you can see that there's another stairway that kind of like leads down one more layer into the ship. I know that there's another whole floor that we could go to, but I have a feeling if we're going to find anything useful that well, would be a benefit to our group and maybe to Chief here, it'd probably be in that room right there. And he like points to the captain's quarters.
Let's go check out the captain's quarters then.
As you approach the captain's quarters, Ibrin, you try to open the door, and you feel a tumbler on the inside that like is latched closed. The door itself is locked.
Well, unless somebody can pick locks magically, I can give it a go with my tools.
Ono would kind of knock on the door, put his ear up to it, and then whisper something in Arcana to give him the ability to use detect magic. This door doesn't have any magical properties. It looks like you You'd probably be okay just trying to open it with your fancy dancy tools that you have there, sir.
Alright. Guess I will use my thieves' tools and try to pick the lock. Or sleight of hand. Which one do you want me using?
Thieves' tools. Try using that once. If it doesn't give you a prompt to roll, then it'd be a dexterity check with extra proficiency for thieves' tools. But you should be able to do it straight from thieves' tools. Oof!
That's not one thing I can bolster, is it?
It is a check. I would allow you to. Pulling from the depths of your mind to try and force some more knowledge about different lock types. And you should have all of your psionic dice back now too. Okay. Total of 10. It takes you a little while. A little longer than what you were hoping. But you feel, while this lock itself only has a few tumblers, they're so old that trying to get them to latch into place is what's causing most of your issues, until eventually you hear the final click and the door creaks open, revealing the interior of the captain's quarters. Within this captain's quarters, as you first get hit by this wave of super rancid air, as it kind of ventures out, a wall of dust also kind of follows behind, this room having not been open in an extremely long time. You would see that within the captain's quarters, you would see a large centralized desk with scattered documents around it, a comfortable chair which currently is occupied by a skeleton, a small bed, like maybe the size of like a twin bed or even smaller, in the far corner, and you would see what looks to be a helm of some sort, wooden, and bone-like no, not wooden. It'd be a bone-like in composition, that has two different roots, protruding off the top of it that kind of weave around each other and disappear down into the interior of the ship itself. Atop the desk, you would see like I said, a series of documents, an ancient-looking compass, and a purple crystal atop a small ringed stand.
Is that something I can have like Ono detect magic for, or I don't
Yeah.
want to say necessarily investigate to see what the heck it is, but
He has detect magic up because he did that for the door just to make sure it wasn't magical. He would be able to. He would point to the crystal, and to the compass, and to the helm. All three of them would give off a magical aura. The hold on once. The compass would give off a divination, school of magic. The gem would give off a cross between divination and transmutation, and the helm would give off a cross between divination and enchantment magics. The helm currently rests on the desk, not on the head of the skeleton. So it seems that whenever something happened that created this moment here, the helm was already off of their head.
so you said the helm was transmutation?
It was divination, and the helm was divination and enchantment. The crystal was divination and transmutation. And then the compass was straight divination.
Alright. I'm trying to take a look at something. Doesn't Ono have something to where you can see what something is? Like a 10-minute enchantment.
Are you like to determine like what certain like effects and stuff are? Like identify, or like what are you thinking?
I thought it was something like identify.
He does have identify. And I would say just because he would prepare it for today. We will unprepare Wither and Bloom and prepare Identify instead. He would look to you and he would look down at like the items that like are magical that he kind of pointed out. I can do that. Good idea. Let's see what these things have, like what these things mean. And he will like, with chalk, he would like look at Truk and be like, this isn't a permanent thing. I just need to make my circle. And he would like begin writing his magic circle, and he would take the 10 minutes to ritually cast. Actually no. He would burn his daily with the spellbook to cast a ritual, casting as a standard action. So he will cast Identify. I forgot he could do that. Did not do that with Detect Magic, but he'll do it with Identify. And he will look at the items that are around him. Well, he points to the helm. This is definitely the control center. This right here, once the ship is powered, this is what you use to give it commands to tell it where to go and when to go. But based off of the length of these vines that I see connecting the helm, if I had to guess, I would say whoever's wearing the helm probably can't go any farther than the workstations out there. The length of the vines that I see here don't give me the indication that you could go any farther than that. But it looks like while you wear it, you can telepathically talk to people on the ship. And you can see out to an insane range while on the ship, which means that we'll be able to see danger way ahead of time. And he looks over to the compass. So this compass thing here, I gotta pull it up quick. I've heard of these before anyway, but this is what is known as a bone compass. Usually they're carved from some form of creature's skull, and there's magic imbued into it. It's a whole big process, and they make it into a compass, but you can use them to track people. And as long as you have an item from that person, or something that like has their aura about it, as long as you're on the same plane of existence as them, you can use this thing to find them pretty much anywhere in the world. However, there are some catches to these things. This one here is extremely old, and you can only designate it to one person at a time, and you can't undesignate a person until you're within 1 mile of them. And this one, and it looks at it and you can see that it's not pointing like north. This one's already locked on to someone. Whoever, if the chief or archdruid or whatever his name is, if he died before he could find that person, well, if the person's still alive, the compass is still attached to them. So whoever they were trying to hunt down, somehow they're still alive. So the bone compass won't be able to do what we want it to do until after that part's kind of done. We might need to find this person before we can actually use the compass. Maybe that'll give us time to find something that, or maybe we have something from Hedrun that we could use the lock on to her. I don't know. Anyway, if we get within a mile and we leave the mile range, the compass resets and becomes a normal compass till we give it somebody else's scent again. So it's a good tracking tool. And then the last piece.
Does he know, like,
I'm sorry.
if we were to find that person, can we go on to another person? Is there like a cooldown period, essentially?
Once we get within a mile, we can change which individual it's attached to. So we don't have to worry about it resetting or taking, like a whole day to recover its energy. This thing is, as long as the ship has power, this thing is it'll always be ready to go. And just based off of it still pointing in a direction, there must be enough power in this ship to supply some functionality somewhere. But we don't have to worry about it. We don't have to worry about waiting for it to reset. We can just reset it once we get close to that person, or within a mile of that person. The last thing here, I don't even need to identify to tell you what it is. This right here is what's known as a memory crystal. It's an old form of magic that was used long ago. We're talking possibly thousands of years ago. Honestly, Ebron, you might even recognize what these are. Which, honestly, Ebron probably would. These are things that people used, like, even in the era before you got sucked into the astral plane. This is magic that, like, your mother has even used to, like, convey things between you and, like, your father. Not, like, the crystal she used didn't look exactly the same as this one, but it's the same general premise and it's the same basic foundation. So you would have familiarity with something for once in the form of memory crystals. You would also know, alongside "oh no," as he says it, you need to, in order to actually use these things, you need to have a specific spell. And a lot of times those spells are kind of lost to time. We might have to, we might need to find a scroll of some sort that has this spell on it. In the meantime, though, it's good that we found one of these. They can record memories for a long freaking time. Sometimes 30 minutes, but I've heard of them having memories as far out as, like, upwards of, like, 2 days. That's a lot to sift through, but it's possible. If there's things here that, contain memories of this archdruid, we'd be able to read them if we can just find the spell to access it. Though I don't know where we're going to find that up here.
Do we know what spell we need?
The name of the spell, you would recognize just by the name, is called Unlock Memory. But it's something that over time here, the concept of needing it has kind of been lost. So even from the time period of you, like, disappearing into the astral plane and coming out to now, somewhere in there, either the need to use this magic or the basic understanding of, like, people using it, the tradition has kind of lost its need to be passed down. It's an old magic.
Gotcha.
So he would read off those things to you as he gets ready to kind of depart from this room, and really curious to adventure off into the to see what everything is inside the workshop. He would kind of summarize everything that's in this room here, as you guys are all in the location of what could be believed to be the Archdruid's skeleton. I think we're gonna leave it there for tonight.
Seems like a good spot.
So if you guys can get it fully functional, will have acquired a new mode of transportation in the form of Shiraha, the living airship.